Today's lesson is on the second part of topic 2, and we're going to continue looking at mixtures as well as solutions, and we'll also look at what makes materials dissolve. So we're going to start by talking about dissolving. So when we're talking about dissolving, we're forming a solution. So we're forming a solution by mixing two or more materials. Like we talked about last class, orange juice and milk, those are not solutions because the pulp of the orange, it's not dissolving, and neither does the milk fat. All right, those were examples of heterogeneous mixtures. So from the particle model, we know that particles are always moving, and we also know that particles attract each other. So we're going to look at the example of dissolving sugar into water. All right, and we're going to use the particle model of matter when we explain this. So water particles, they are strongly attracted to the sugar particle more than sugar particles are attracted to each other. So this water particle is going to pull a sugar particle away from the other sugar particles, and the motion of the particles is going to carry it away. Now that it's carried away, there's going to be room for more water particles to come in, move in, attract another sugar particle, and pull it away as well. And this process will continue until all the sugar gets dissolved. So we'll look at this picture here of how sugar dissolves in water. So these are the water molecules here shown in blue and red, representing H2O. And then we have the sugar. So what we see happening here is the water molecules are attracted to the sugar particles, and they're able to come in and pull them away because particles are always moving. Then they get pulled away, and more water particles can move in and attract another sugar particle. All right, and then this process continues. So we can see all of that happening on the right-hand side here. And this process will continue until it forms a solution. And if everything is equally distributed. All right, and when we talk about solutions, we have to know these terms, solutes and solvents. So when we talk about a solute, that's the substance that dissolves in a solvent. So in the example of the sugar water, the sugar is the solute. The solvent, this is the substance that dissolves the solute to form the solution. So in our example, the water was the solvent. When we talk about soluble, this is the ability to be dissolved in a particular solvent. So for example, we could say sugar is soluble in water. Sand is not soluble in water, right? Because sand does not actually dissolve in water, so therefore it's insoluble. And solutes and solvents, they can be solids, liquids, or gases. All right, so here we're looking at solutes and solvents. So like we said, it could be a solid, liquid, or gas. So in our first example, when we look at air, air is made up of oxygen and other gases like nitrogen. So the solute is the gas, the solvent is also the gas. When we have humid air, there's also water vapor in the air. Again, the solute is a gas, the solvent is a gas. When we look at soda water, the carbon dioxide is a gas and it's in water. So the solute is a gas, the solvent is a liquid. Vinegar, this is composed of acetic acid in water. So that would be a liquid solute and a liquid solvent. When we look at ocean water, it's made up of various salts. Those are solids, which are in water. So we have the solute as solids, and the solvent is a liquid. All right, so this chart just shows how shows how solutes and solvents can be solids, liquids, or gases. Water is also known as the universal solvent. 2/3 of Earth's surface is covered with water, and it's called the universal solvent because it can dissolve so many materials. Looking at human bodies, half of our blood is water. The water in blood dissolves and carries food molecules, carries vitamins, minerals, and other essential substances as well. It also carries our dissolved wastes away from the body cells. In plants need water to deliver nutrients and remove wastes. The sap we see in trees, sap has water and nutrients that come from the roots and other storage areas in the plant. These nutrients, they're dissolved and they get transported in solution to every part of the plant. And then there's rates of dissolving. The rate of dissolving is how fast a solute can dissolve in a solvent. And there's a few factors that can affect the rate of dissolving. The first one is agitation. This is the same thing as stirring or shaking. So by stirring or shaking the mixture, it will help the solute dissolve faster into the solvent. Sizes of pieces, they also matter. Smaller pieces of solute will dissolve quicker than large pieces. Think about a whole candy versus a crunched up candy. When the solute is in smaller pieces, there's more surface area, so therefore dissolving will occur faster. Temperature can also affect rate of dissolving, so temperature and pressure. So if we increase temperature, it makes the particles move faster. The heat energy is transferred by the movement of the particles. The solvent particles are moving faster. They're going to bump into the solute particles faster and therefore allow the dissolving to occur faster. All right, so those are some factors that affect rate of dissolving. Next, we're going to talk about how much can be dissolved. So this is solubility. So the mass of a solute that can dissolve in a given amount of solvent to form a saturated solution at a given temperature. And a saturated solution is when a solution cannot take any more solute. So no more solute will dissolve in a specific amount of solvent at a specific temperature. So for example, salt, no more than 35.7 grams of salt will dissolve in 100 grams of ice cold water at 0 degrees Celsius. So we would say the solubility of salt is 35.7 grams per 100 grams of water, written like this. So that would be a saturated solution, a saltwater solution. An unsaturated solution is when more solute can still be added. So more solute could still be added and dissolve in a specific amount of solvent at the same temperature. And then beyond the limit, we can also make supersaturated solutions. And this is when it's a solution that contains more solute than would normally dissolve at a certain temperature. So usually you can heat up the solution to make more solute dissolve. And then once you've made that, you can make a saturated solution and then cool it without stirring. And the solute will stay dissolved for a short amount of time. And then if you add another small crystal of solute, the extra solute will quickly turn into crystals. All right, so here we're just looking at an unsaturated solution. We can still add more solute and it will continue to dissolve. A saturated solution, no more solute will dissolve. It's just sitting there at the bottom. And a supersaturated solution, it becomes unstable and it will form these crystals.